Hello, my name is Fabian Zitman and I am a product manager for the BFA and IncidentXP software products. In this video I will show you the basic functionalities of IncidentXP. Today is the 28th of June 2018 and we will be working in the standalone version of IncidentXP, version 9.2.0. It is also possible to have BFA alongside IncidentXP, but that is for another video. The incident we will analyze today is the following. On a rainy day, a worker was working at height, slipped on a scaffold, and fell into the water. If you have downloaded the IncidentXP software from us, your starting screen should look something like this. We start our investigation with the Incident Manager tab. If it is not visible here, you can find it under View, Windows, Incident Manager. The Incident Manager aims to guide us through the different steps of incident investigation. There are two ways of starting your incidents. The first is to add a new incident by clicking on Add Incident in the Incident Manager tab. The second way is to go to the pane on the left called Tree View. Here you can see three parent entities. Find the one called Incidents and right-click on it and select New Incident. The Add Incident diagram pops up. You can enter many different fields here, however in this video we will only be focusing on the strictly necessary ones. Let's name our incident analysis Worker Falls in Water. We have a number of incident analysis techniques in our software, and depending on the techniques you have unlocked with your activation code, you will see one or more techniques to choose from. It is up to you which one you want to work with. For this video, we will only focus on barrier failure analysis, or BFA for short. We also have tripod beta, BSCAT, root cause analysis, and top-SET root cause analysis. The timeline option is always included regardless of which technique you want. Pressing OK immediately takes you to the Incident Timeline tab. However, before rushing into things, it is important to get an overview of what we're doing. So we first go back to the Incidents Manager. Now you can see the 6 steps we believe are involved in incident investigation. The first tab gives you a short overview of any details you entered when first creating the incident. I have added some extra details behind the scenes as you can see here. If anything still needs to be added, you can make use of these 4 buttons, which I'll let you explore by yourself. If everything you entered checks out, we can move to the second tab called Investigation. Left-clicking on the Timeline link will take you to the timeline. As you can see, we now jumped to the Timeline tab, here. In this step of your incident investigation, you can show the fact-finding part of your incident analysis. On the left, you can add actors, and in the top, you can add timeline columns. Each timeline column represents a timestamp that is relevant to the building of your timeline storyboard. Additionally, you can add one or multiple timeline events in each row and/or column. To add a timeline actor, go to the left and click on the small green plus button. My starting screen already starts out with some default values. Let's add scaffold floor and worker. You can also change existing actors by right-clicking and selecting Edit Timeline. Let's change technology to footwear. And finally, we delete organization by right-clicking and selecting delete. Worked out, it looks like this. To add columns, you can click on the small green plus button in the column section. This will give you a pop-up window where you can specify the time and add some text. For example, Start of Incident. You can even color the column by clicking here. Choose any color you like. In this window, let's add the 11th of August 2016, 10 AM, and press OK. Then we delete the first column by right-clicking and selecting Delete. Let's add one more column and give it some extra text. 11th of August 2016, 12:30 PM. Worker falls in water. Worked out, for time's sake, it looks something like this. To specify what happened in the timeline, click on the green plus button in a timeline event and start typing. You can add multiple events within a box. Simply hover over the space and click the green plus button again. Let's say that in this incident, the rain started at 10 AM and at 12:30 the worker slips and falls in water. Worked out, it looks something like this. After we are done with the Timeline tab, we go back to the Incident Manager tab. If it is not visible here, you can find it under View, Windows, Incident Manager. Here we can see in which step of the incident analysis we are. We have just done Timeline Diagram under Investigation, so now we can continue to Analysis. Let's click on BFA Diagram. This takes us to the incident diagram, in this case of the barrier failure analysis technique. The starting screen should look something like this. You can see that the first event is automatically created. It begs us to double-click it, so let's do that. Generally, in incident analysis, you start with the incident and work your way back from there to the normal everyday operations. So let's enter worker falls in water. Now, we want to enter what happened before this event. So select an event and you'll notice you can click on a small green button on either side of that event and it will make a new event for you. Let's make a new event before this one, so we click on the left side. You'll notice it automatically makes space for the new event. Let's work out the second event too. Before the worker fell in the water, he lost his balance. Worker slips and loses balance. Before this event, he was working on a presumably slippery floor. So let's add another event. Scaffold floor is slippery due to rain. Now we're at the start of the incident. The normal operations. I could make another event before this one. However, I want to show that two events happened simultaneously, in parallel. To do this, simply click on the green button again and it will automatically create a new event for you in parallel. If at some point in time you want to add another event in the middle of your incident, so to say, all you need to do is hover between two events over a connector line and click on the blue button Add New Event. If some of the event shapes aren't properly aligned, you can click on them and hold your mouse button to drag them around, like this. Notice that the software tries to think with you and automatically readjusts shapes according to the grid. It is also possible to drag multiple shapes around at the same time by making use of the Shift button. Simply hold down Shift, select multiple events, and drag them around like so. Now that we've identified all of our events, we can start adding barriers to our diagram. Hover over a connector line between two events and find the small gray button called Add New Incident Barrier. Click on it and it'll automatically make a new barrier for you. You can repeat this as often as you like. Double click on the text box to change the name, where Fall Protection Harness is one barrier. Let's add another barrier here, Inspection and Cleanup of Work Area, and here, Wear Proper Footwear. Now that we've identified a number of barriers, we must assign barrier states. How did our barriers perform in this incident? Were they effective or did they fail? To do this, you can right-click, select Edit Incident Barrier to add it in a pop-up window. There is lots of information here, but let's just focus on barrier state for now. Let's say that this barrier failed, and by default this was already selected, so we don't have to press OK. And this one also failed, again by default already selected, so no need to press OK. And now let's say this third one, wear proper footwear, it was actually never implemented, so therefore it was missing. So select missing and then press OK. Now that we've identified the barrier states, we can go into the causation paths. Hover over a barrier and notice underneath a small gray button. Click on it and the window will pop up. Here you can add the causation path. For the primary cause, we ask ourselves the questions, why did this barrier fail? In this case, because the safety harnesses weren't worn. For the secondary cause, again the question, why weren't they worn? Because harnesses are routinely not worn on scaffolds in this organization. Then on the third level, the tertiary cause, we ask ourselves the question, why was the secondary cause prevalent? Because risk awareness about wearing safety harnesses was not implemented. Press OK and you'll see the new causation paths. For time's sake, I've sped up the process for our other two barriers. The next step is to add recommendations. You can do this by clicking on a shape and going to the action button here. A pop-up window will show. We enter only the code and the name today. This could be anything. Let's name the code A01 and for name we type implement footwear. The software will ask you if you want to show actions on your diagram. Select yes, and the action posted will show up in your diagram like here. If you want to turn this off again, click on the large eye icon here. Go to Action Shapes and select None. After this, we can go back to the Incident Manager, where we can now see the recommendation we just made. You can make more general recommendations in this tab. You can do so by clicking here. Let's add another more general action, for example, install new barriers. As you can see, it will show up in this list. You can export an Excel list of the actions by clicking here. Next in the Incident Manager are attachments. You can add them by clicking here, select Browse, and find the document you want to attach. Press OK once you're done. Finally, we can show a report of our incident by going to the Reports tab. Click on the second button called Create New Report to open our main incident report. Save it on your computer and it will automatically open a Word document for you. This always takes a little bit of time. I will let you browse through the Word documents on your own. Alternatively, you can click on the Reports function in the top toolbar located here. The number of reports in this screen varies depending on which of our modules you have. Choose any report that is there, click on Run, and you will either get a Word or an Excel document. It is also possible to customize your reports by using the Incident from Template report. Please consult our software manual to find out how. Thank you for listening. My name is Fabian Zitman. If anything was unclear or if you want more YouTube videos on other aspects of the bowtie method or any of our products, please do not hesitate to leave a comment below or leave me an email via support@cgerisk.com.